What is up, guys? Welcome to another video. That Geeky guy here, and today we will be looking on the tips and guides on drafting actually. So this will be aimed on beginners. So if you guys have no idea on what drafting is all about, so I'm gonna attempt to explain here, and then just gonna be explaining some things as we go along. Also what drafting is all about and why it can be fun actually. So this is a format that there is, I'm guessing in my local scene is not as popular as Blitz or Classic Constructed, but it is quite popular, I guess, in other countries such as the North American region or even New Zealand. So I have some packs here. I already bust them up open, so it will be easier to actually get the cards out and do the explaining instead of just struggling with the packs, because the recent Japanese pack can be a bit hard to open for some reason, not like the Belgian printing ones. Anyways, so we have 3 packs here. So what happened in a booster draft? So a booster box will be divided amongst all the players in a pod. So in a pod, there is 8 players. So each player will be getting 3 packs because, of course, in a booster box of FAB, we have 24 packs. 24 divided by 8, we have 3 packs each for each person. So what usually happens is during the first round, each of the players is going to take up their packs and actually open them. So I'm just gonna go through the format for a bit, and things like the deck construction will be right after I explain like what type of the cards you generally have to choose, and then how to identify what type of hero the players are playing in your table. Usually as a beginner, you just want to focus on the hero that you want to play. As soon as you have some experience, you might want to shift more towards actually understanding that what are the other players on your table is playing. Of course, you can't directly just ask them what they are playing. Instead, you'll have to try to identify based on their pick. So this is your pack. So what you want to do is actually, of course, open up your pack. And usually there is, if this is a more of a competitive kind of drafting, there will be a judge that actually tell you what you should do. I mean, not exactly what you should do per se one by one, but basically telling you that you can open your pack now, look through the cards, 1 minute to actually pick your cards, and then pass the remaining cards to the next person, either clockwise or counterclockwise. You just have to listen to the instruction carefully. So we're gonna go through this together. So what you wanna do generally when picking a card is just go through the pack and then see what are the cards that catches your eye. So usually for WTR packs, it would be 4 cards from the front, and then we have an equipment, so common equipment for example. And then we have 2 rares and a foil of any kind, and then rest would be commons. Also, when you open up your packs, usually the first thing you want to do is take this token and put it right in the middle of the table or where they collect all the tokens and stuff. So I'm just gonna put it there. Now let's go through the packs again. So we have all these cards, and then we have the 2 rares here. So there are a decent amount of options, so you wouldn't want your opponent to actually see what you're picking, so you have to fan it out in your hand. Try to reduce the visibility to the person to your left or right, or even to your front if you're doing you don't want to do this. Anyways, so you will be looking through your cards. So there are a bunch of interesting choices here. So what I would suggest is, in order to keep your options open, you want to go for more generic kind of cards. So during your first pack, you want to keep your choices as open as possible. So this serves 2 purposes. First, you can get to choose, you can get to, of course, keep your choices open, and actually kind of don't give an idea to the person next to you that you are going towards a certain class. So of course, if this is the first, you are the first person that opens this pack, it doesn't give much idea to the person next to you. But as the pack get passed around, more and more cards being taken, So more likely they will know that, kind of can read that what you are picking. So to keep your options open, you usually want to take a look at the generics. So we have some good defense reaction. Sink below right away. A red one is an excellent choice actually. So we have a yellow Nimble Strike, unfortunately not as desirable. Blue Raging Onslaught, similarly not as desirable. We have a red Pummel. We have a nice equipment, which is an Iron Rod Leg. Extra armor is always good, but generally in WTR drafts, there is just so many equipments going around. You can kind of pass this if you want. We have a Blue Flick Flag, which is an excellent defense reaction for Ninja, but once you have picked this, you basically kind of limit your choice to Ninja. You can change your class. I mean, it is possible to actually change your class in the second pack, but I would still suggest to go for generics for better, for better options in the future. And then we also have a Energy Potion. It's decent, but all the other cards here we have here are class cards. So we have a Yellow Smash Instinct, open the center. Iron Song Response Rate is another one that caught my eye. This is a decent choice for Warrior. Warrior is actually quite strong in draft for me. And we have a Primeval Bellow, a yellow one. So this is also a decent choice. Blue Surging Strike, not so much. And also a Stonewall Confidence. So as a beginner, what you want to do is go for your comfort picks if you can. If there is a certain class that you already know how to play, from Blitz or Classic Constructed, the easiest way is going to draft. You might want to choose that class. But first pack, I still suggest that you keep your options open. So a decent choice for the first pack would be these red Sink Below. And maybe even the Iron Rod Legs if you want to snag that early equipment. But it also limits your, if you snag this equipment, it does make you less likely to pick equipment for your second pack or any packs that get passed to you. There is also a Snapdragon Scalers. That would be a better equipment choice, I think, compared to Iron Rod Legs, depending on what class you're playing. So therefore, I think the best choice for the first pack is going to be Sink Below. So this is kind of my thought process when picking up a pack. You want to keep your options open during the first pack. And during the second pack, you want to go for more class-based cards. So you want to make sure that you draft enough in order to prevent yourself from actually trying to fill those gaps with crack baubles, because crack baubles, you generally don't want to have any crack baubles in your deck because it doesn't defend. It's only there to fill up the gaps and also pay for resources. Not really useful. So once the packs get passed around, so you want to kind of remember that your deck is basically consists of all these cards. So once so there are 8 players. So once you have make your pick, you're gonna pass the cards to the person next to you. So once the pack is going to actually go around the table, so the 7 more cards is going to be taken by other players. So whatever left from here is going to be your second pick from the pack himself. So this thing is basically continuous until you have no more cards left and the packs are already get passed around. I think you guys will get some idea from this. Anyways, so that's basically it for the first pack. We're going to go to the second pack and try to tunnel into a certain class. So once you get your first pack passed around and you try to remember whatever that is within your pack, if you see certain class cards they are missing, so you kind of get the idea that there are someone in your table that is basically playing that class. So my tip would be, if a certain player is playing that class, or you're noticing that there are a bunch of cards from a certain class, let's say Ninja, someone is taking all the Surgings, Open Center is missing, Blue Flick Flag is missing, so you know there are maybe 2 or 3 Ninja players on the table. So you might want to stay away from that to let you have more options, maybe go for more Brute cards, so you have more Brute cards to actually pick from. More option is always better. So you kind of want to read the table. And then we go to the second pack here. So let's take a look what we have in the second pack. I don't want the wrapper to actually fly around anyway. So we have the second pack here. So we are looking through so we have some generics here. We have a blue sing below, Boraging, Brawnhide, Razor Reflex. Reflection Bolter is a class equipment and a very good one at that. So you might want to put that in mind when looking at a certain very class specific equipment. It's gonna be good if you want to play that class. So we have a nice, a few good warrior cards here. We have a Stroke of Foresight, pretty good Reflection Bolters. So because you kept your options open in the first pack, you can get to actually pick for a more class specific one. Based on the things that we are looking at, this pack has some solid brute cards such as the Breakneck Battery, some solid warrior equipment. So this is now entirely your choice to actually go for. Another thing I would suggest is before passing the cards, you just do once again, don't forget the token. Just do a quick shuffle just to make sure that, you know, the person next to you doesn't know your thought process, and just always want to do a quick shuffle so they don't see any kind of patterns or anything. So if you're going for a class specific one, Reflection Bolters is always good. And go for that. Get to swing your weapon more if you're into warriors. If you are into brutes, you can also go for a Breakneck Battery. Excellent card. So if you are not familiar with some of the classes, you can always go to fab.db.net. Basically take a look at the cards. I'm going to leave the link down in the description below so you guys can get an idea. So you're going to repeat all this until you have a decent amount of cards and all the packs are used up. Remember that in a draft, booster draft, your deck is going to be consisting of 30 cards minimum. So if you were to draft maybe like 26 cards that you found out you can only use 26 cards, you're going to fill those gaps with crack baubles. So you generally want to prevent from actually using crack baubles, and it's best to actually fill them up with useful cards, with generics and things like that if you could. If you really couldn't, just, you know, grab some crack baubles from the host of the draft. So there goes my wrappers, but it's okay. So from the third pack here, we are looking at some decent cards here. Once again, Steelblade Shunt stands out as basically one of the best defense reaction in game. But it does cost 1, so if you are playing warrior, you might want to look into taking this. There's also a good guardian action here, debilitate. So this is another guardian attack action is good. So you generally, if you play those hero in Classic Constructed or Blitz, you get the idea of how many blues you want to have in a deck. So maybe for warrior, you want to have out of 30 cards, you're building a 30 card draft deck, you want to have maybe like 10 blues and things like that. So after each, usually when once you have selected your cards, you're going to leave them face down. Of course, whoever is hosting the draft is going to give you the instruction of telling you that you must leave your cards face down and things like that. And there is a 1-minute review period before before going for the next pack. So generally, during the review period and each time you have the pod has completed like one pack, and so you want to take a look at the number of blues you have. So just to make sure that you have enough pitch, the number of attack reaction, make sure you have enough attack action if your class is based on attack actions. If your class is based on attack reactions such as warrior, you want to make sure you have sufficient of that. Make sure you have enough equipment if you can. So that's generally what you want to do. Also, I've talked about reading the table to know what kind of cards your opponent is taking, the other players on your table. Once you have some kind of idea what they are going for, You might want to deny some of the cards. Just don't do this too much because you want to make sure that you yourself have enough cards. But if you think certain cards that's going to be beneficial for them, you might want to take it just to deny them the card. So let's say you think your person on my right here is going to require some kind of quick equipment, or he's running some ninja class. Let's see what kind of cards with here. So maybe he want to get this, he's playing ninja class, and Head Jab is going to be a good card for him to pick because it's a 0 cost. It has go against 3. So you want to pick this just to deny him the access to having that card. So that's one thing you could do, but I wouldn't suggest doing this too much because you want to, once again, you want to have those, the pick to yourself. So focus on yourself first. Then once you think you have enough stuff, then you can go for this kind of plays. So that's pretty much it, guys. So just a quick reminder. So we're going to talk a bit on the deck construction. So you want to make sure that, of course, your deck has 30 cards minimum. And also 30 cards minimum, you want to make sure you have enough blue pitch. If you're playing a Guardian deck, you want to have more blues than other classes. If you want to play Blue Brute, you want to be somewhere in the middle. And if you're playing Katsu Ninja, you want to make sure you have enough 0 cost blues. And generally things like that. So for booster draft, 30 cards minimum. You can go as much as possible. I mean, over 30, 40, 50, it's okay, but make sure you have 30 cards minimum in your deck. You can play as much as, I mean, let's say you want to play something like a Breakneck Battery. So it's not limited to 3 copies such as in Classic Constructed, or 2 copies in Blitz. In draft, you can play as much as you want. If you have 5 copies, if you somehow drafted into 5 copies of Breakneck Battery, you can just play that and things like that. Let's say you drafted into 4 Sing Belows, 5 Sing Belows, you can just play that. So there's no limitation in that sense. So that's pretty much it, guys. I hope the info on the screen, I'm just going to be adding some infos on the screen as I go along with the explanation, because some of the things I said might not be clear for you guys. So feel free to ask me questions down in the comments below. That's pretty much it, guys. Hope you guys enjoy the draft. So the main drafting event coming up is the WTR Farewell event. I hope you guys enjoy. Have some fun. Draft is certainly a unique kind of experience. I don't really like it at first, but as I played along, and I found it's very interesting. There is kind of a psychological game going on in the background as you know what other cards the players are taking. It's pretty much it, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Do like, subscribe, and that's it, guys. See you guys in the next one. Peace.